everybody. That's
Hello,
Erica.
it's Cody.
And we're on I almost said Inarticulate. I can't even say the title of our own show. We are Unarticulate. We don't know how to speak. If that does not prove that, that's kind of our MO, and that's the entire existence of this podcast. So good luck if this has already kept you in. We got you in 20 seconds. You're now ours forever.
Oh, our
Yep.
dedicated 10 loyal fans.
Yep. We love you so much, every single one of you. I
We
know
do.
one of you are not, one of you is not, are not, I've never words, are, you're not my mom. But mom, I love you.
You're not my mom. You're
You're
not
not,
my mom.
you're not my mom. Karen, I do love you a lot. So, just as an update, well, because we're also going to do updates, but just as a general thing, we usually record at a different time. So, this is our lunch break. So, please enjoy all of the ASMR pieces of us drinking, eating thing. You know, it's going to be great. You don't need to hide. You come back. You
I
center
just
screen yourself.
I don't want to be like that close to the thing. Why I chew.
You just come back. You just come back all nice. There
Okay,
we
I'm
go.
back.
You're here. You're here with your nice hat.
My nice hat
Your
makes me
mustard
relatable.
mustard hat. What is that?
I think it's mustard.
I don't know what colors are with fancy words. They're like, this shirt is salmon, it's not pink, it's not orange. And I'm like, so it's a pink shirt.
Yeah, good. That's yep.
Salmon, you know? It's fine.
Salmon.
So, what's going on with you?
Um. So, uh, we took a brief break just to life, just to
Yes.
life, basically. So in that time period, I went to Virginia.
Yes, you
Uh, I drove to Virginia to see our mutual friend Courtney, and went and just like spent a good amount of time in nature. Got to see Cascades, which is this beautiful waterfall, and it's like a 4 mile hike, and then McAfee's Knob, which is an 8 mile hike round trip. Which is funny. So we did Cascades the first day, and then McAfee's Knob the second day. My poor dog. We got to the top of the mountain where this outlook is, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We were swarmed by bugs at one point in time, but this outlook is beautiful, and my poor dog just fell asleep at the top of a mountain. She was like,
I'm done, I'm tired.
it's like, I'm over this, I'm over you, I'm taking a nap, like passed out. Um, so that was really funny. I came back to my plants being super dramatic, just so dramatic. It's so funny because like succulents and houseplants, succulents for the most part are pretty chill. General houseplants get really like wilty and dramatic, and then you give them water and they're like, "Wee, I'm okay." I'm like, "Ah, you stupid plant."
I
Um,
wish that's how humans were. Like, you would think dehydration, like, I mean, I'm always operating at what my highest could be. I promise you that an extra bottle of water will not make that difference.
I'm gonna close my window really quick because you can hear that backup sound.
That is actually the sound of my brain processing things. And so
Good.
it's in overdrive right now, and that's what I'm going to assume it actually is.
Good. Oh no, I can't. Having a hard time. I made it. I made it back into the chair. I scooted in. Here we are. So my plants were dramatic.
That was
Um,
dramatic. That's fine.
yeah, that was dramatic. Um, we tried reverse tie dyeing, so it's where you take bleach to dark colored clothing
Oh,
and you
right.
try to tie dye that way. That was a gosh darn nightmare. It was.
Okay.
So it looked like it was gonna work. It's because it was not full cotton, like it wasn't a full cotton blend. It was a cotton polyester
Um,
mix. So it looked like mine wasn't doing anything, and Courtney's her entire like her sleeves just turned orange. Uh,
nice.
so and then we washed and dried them, and they came out and they looked like a potato sack. Like they were the color of a potato sack, like this weird brown. Like they were black, and then they became potato sack colored. And I was upset, and I was a little dramatic about it, and then I got like this weird like I don't know what happened, but I went to a different world, And at 2 in the morning, I decided to re-dye the black crew neck black with Rit dye to take
Yeah.
care of the potato sackiness of it. It was a time.
Did
It
you
was.
fix the potato sackiness?
It's like a. It's a darker brown. It's
So it's
not
still tie dye, kind of.
kind of like you can see like where the tie dye took and stuff. It
Okay.
yeah. Just like when you reverse tie dye, make sure it's 100% cotton because it
Yeah.
wasn't, and it was just a time. And then um and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, and at
Mm.
this point in time, we're 2 episodes deep.
I didn't see episode 2. We can't
I
talk.
will I won't
So
say anything,
okay,
but
good.
like it's so good and it makes my heart so happy. Um and then Zack Snyder's The Justice League came out, and that like I I love films. I love movie films. I say that like I was in film school. I love cinematic adventures so much, but that's a 4-hour long movie that I needed to like watch in increments because of how long it was. Really good. They did a really good job. I liked the focus. They did it like there was more of a focus on Cyborg, which the Joss Whedon version or Joss? Yes.
Yes, Joss
Joss
Whedon.
Whedon version didn't do, and like there's a little bit of drama with like Joss Whedon where he's like kind of racist. Um
Oh,
yeah, like there's a lot of drama around that where he took out a lot of Cyborg's parts because and like it like came out in media that like it was because like he was a black man, and I was like that's not okay. Like that's you're just going to take away this really important part and this really important character because of this. Not okay. But Cyborg is really well like the actor who plays him, I think his name is Ray Fisher.
maybe.
I think his name is Ray Fisher. Um Excellent actor. I can't wait to see him in other things. He did a great job. It was beautiful. So yeah. And then you and I don't did you no you did. Did you take it? The Quantic Gamer type? You didn't take it.
It
We'll
was a
talk about
long
that another
week.
time.
It was a long week.
It was a long week. So tell me
Yeah.
that's all me. I did all of the talking. I'm done talking about myself. You talk about you.
Um. So one of the primary reasons that we halted production last week for the podcast was because for fans of the pod, fans of the friends who do the pod, or you've watched our footage, you've probably seen my cat. My cat Leo passed away, and it was very unexpected. It was like basically, well, no, we do. Yeah, we do production as of right now on Mondays, and it was Monday when it happened, and it was just all at once, like spontaneous trips everywhere. So, um, through navigating death and loss and all like that, it was just kind of best from Erica's perspective that we would just kind of halt production for the week and then return this week. So, um, thank you for your patience. Nobody complained. All 10 of you, nobody complained. Um, but I appreciate across this time like the support that has happened mutually between not only Erica and again our mutual friend Courtney, but my staffs. They were very supportive. I supervised 2 halls on a college campus, and like both of them, they outdid themselves in terms of like I never asked for a single thing, and then they were like, "Here's a basket of everything you could ever need ever," and I'm like, "You need to stop that." And one of them even told me like, "Our goal was to make you cry," and I'm like, "Why do you want me to cry? What?" Um, that's weird. So yeah, it's been quite a week. I decided to go home. In terms of my mother's home to see family. My mom turned 44 this week, so she was not happy when I said, "Lordy, lordy, look who's 44." I did that when she turned 40, and she was definitely not happy. Um, so got to see her when we went out for dinner. I ordered the steak because I wasn't paying. My stepdad was. I was like, I'll pay for myself. And my mom's like, no, Mike's going to pay. And so naturally, I said, I'm getting the steak. Yeah, very good decision on my behalf. On my way there, however, I was going, 76 or 77 in a 70, and I got pulled over and fined $171.50.
What?
Yes, and it was the Buckhorn exit. Like I literally was about 7 miles from the Berwick exit. Like it was crazy. It was right at the Buckhorn exit. I was so mad.
You were 6 miles. Like what?
Yes, I got I so my journey to my mother's house is about 250 miles. In the last 10-ish miles, I get a ticket, a speeding ticket. I'm so mad. And the police officer, he like pulled me over and he gets out of his car. He's not wearing a mask, by the way. Now, knowing the state of Pennsylvania, again, if you didn't know, we're in the state of Pennsylvania. Knowing the state of Pennsylvania and where we are with vaccines, I'm assuming I'm not a police officer. I don't have friends who are police officers. They may have been vaccinated. I'm vaccinated at this point. So maybe they are. I don't know. But Homeboy comes up, maskless, all face, all mouth, you see it all.
All things.
Yeah. And I'm just there, masked up, like trying to prevent all my ugly cry tears because I'm an emotional hot mess at this point. And I'm just handing my stuff over. And he's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know why. Of course, of course I know why you pulled me over. Like, I wasn't being an idiot. I wasn't flashing people. Like, it was probably because I was going over the speed limit." And he's like, "Yeah, I gunned you down and you were about 77." As in he was doing speed gun guy thing. That thing. So 77 is what he told me. And I'm like, so I think it was closer to 75 because that's where my dad was. I didn't say that part, but we all know, whatever. So I'm like, "Yeah, I apologize. I was just kind of disassociated in my own world, and I'm sorry. Like, I was just going." And he's like, "Okay, I'll be right back." So he goes and he takes my things to run my registration and my insurance. He takes a while, and I'm like, "You know what this means? This means I'm getting a ticket." I've never been ticketed for speeding in my life ever. And so I was like, "This is how it starts. This is where we go." And so it comes back, and I see the paper, and I'm like, "This is it." And he's like, "Since you've been a good sport about all this, and you're being honest, we're just going to ticket you for 5 over." In my mind, I'm like, "So you're not gonna let me go? You're not gonna like just let me live my life and not be sad?" Again, didn't tell him why I was upset and upsetty spaghetti. And Homeboy still just gave me a ticket, $171 for 5 miles over. Granted, I feel like it's in 5 mile increments. You know what I mean? So it's like he kind of implied that he was like letting me go a little bit because I was going 7, but the options are 5 and 10 from my understanding. So like you really didn't do anything great. If anything, you came to my car door not knowing my story, and you just talked all the COVID into my face. And so when
Yes.
he left, I also offered him. I have a pump of hand sanitizer in my middle console, and I even offered him some. I was like, "I don't know if you have any, but if you would like this because you touched all my things, you're more than welcome to have some." And he's like, "No, we have a whole bunch in the official vehicle." So then he just kind of went on his way, and I'm just like, "Okay." And then I drove home, and that was kind of, I just scream raged the entire drive home.
What the hell?
I know.
What?
And I can't even, like, he was a nice officer. Granted, if you look at my complexion, like, I am a white male, you know what I mean? Like, he could have just been nice. He could be a nice person. He could be a nice officer. I also would probably experience a nicer officer than other people. Just throwing that out there. But at the same point, doesn't matter if he was nice. Homeboy didn't even let it slide. Granted, he didn't need to let it slide, but he was coming for the stimmy. That's that end game. The state of Pennsylvania wanted my money, and that's why I'm now out basically $200 because they were like, "We know you got that stimmy, boy, so we're coming for it."
Dumb.
And that's the story I'm sticking to.
Freaking dumb.
Yeah.
Did you did he say if you got any points on your license?
So if you get 5 over, again, state of Pennsylvania, from my understanding, you do not get points when it's 5 over.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got pulled over and I was taking one of my students to um his dad, like they thought his dad was going to die. So I was taking one of my students like last minute emergency before Thanksgiving break, and I was driving him to see his dad in the hospital, and we got pulled over, and the officer that pulled us over like did a check of the entire car.
Oh.
Yeah, because we were four college students in a car that apparently were going over the speed limit. My Rav hits 80 and like shudders. So, and he was like, "You were going 90," and I was like, "I don't think so. Pretty sure, pretty sure my whole car would have just fell apart."
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, yeah, that was a really frustrating time. And then after that, found out that I had 4 points on my license. Didn't tell
Mm,
me anything. So yeah, so that was a fun time. I was pretty salty about that one.
I should check in. I'll call
Yeah.
up my I'll call up my homegirl Lori that works at my insurance company. It's either Lori or it's April, and they always pick up and they're like, "Hey Cody, what's up?" And I'm like, "You know me by name."
Hey Cody,
Great.
what's up?
I know. It's like, thank you for knowing me. That's great. That's the type of customer service we need. Um,
So, like, weird question about driving. Have you've been to visit me in New Jersey a few times?
Correct.
Um, we all know the stereotype that New Jersey are terrible, terrible drivers.
The
Fun,
New
fun.
Jersey are terrible drivers.
New Jersey are terrible drivers. Um, and it's funny because after living here for a little over a year now, as I was driving to Virginia, when I got out of New Jersey and like Pennsylvania and was in Virginia, I was like, everything is more peaceful and people don't seem so aggressive. So, but I feel like because every time I go see my parents in PA, I like I drive into PA and I'm like, PA drivers are progressively becoming more like New Jersey drivers, and I'm kind of over it. So, like, what are your thoughts around that?
uh, I'm going to say from the philosophical standpoint of I technically hail from the Philadelphia side of things. I'm gonna go with way too many New Jersey people immigrated into Pennsylvania and have changed the driving game to mirror their homeland.
Okay.
That's probably a bad. No, I don't know. I think everyone's a bad driver and we all just point a finger at someone. Like I think everyone can mutually agree that New Jersey is a problem and we'll all point at New Jersey, but New York, Pennsylvania, and insert other state here, we're all just kind of like, we know we also suck. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's like Texas. When I lived in Texas, there was this big, like with the students at the university I was at, there was this big beef between Dallas drivers and Houston drivers and like which one was better and which one was worse. And I was like, Dallas is aggressive. Houston is just fast.
Mm.
I will take
Okay.
fast over aggressive.
Correct. I would, well, according to the police officer that pulled me over, he wants aggressive. You don't want fast. So, but as just to close out like my update, um, again, spent a long weekend at my parents' house, drove back. Um, in a week time they were able to do like the cremation process, so had to pick up my cat that entire Sunday. Drove, I think it was a total of 6 hours, which doesn't sound like much retrospectively now that I'm saying it out loud, but it was a lot. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm done. I'm done driving for a while. And yeah, I've been getting into plants. Like I now have plants in every single office and house piece thing. I am growing green onions, which is super fun. I like watching them every day grow a little bit. That's fun. Yeah, and I guess that's really kind of where I'm at. So um, that's it. Well, let's talk about horoscopes. What a good transition. I'm doing great. First day back, man. So let's get into it. So we're gonna talk a little bit about
I just
as a non. Go ahead, do
I
it.
just need to throw out there that like I just need to throw out there that you as a person use comedy as a coping mechanism.
Oh yeah, I've said that to way too many people. When my staff came and delivered this the one basket to me, I literally looked at them and I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to be making jokes because I use comedy to cover up trauma. And they're like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Okay." So, yes, comedy is the preferred way. And that's why we have a comedy podcast to make sense of everything. That's why we're here. So, let's talk about horoscopes. So we're going to be using the famous app CoStar to talk a little bit about our horoscopes.
Our
I'm a Leo, right? And so I'm going to be talking about stuff that it talks how I'm a Leo, but it also falls into other things. Um, and I'm as I read my things, Erica is going to comment on my entire life. And then when we get to Erica, that's what I'm going to do about her and be like, that's why it makes sense because you do this all the time.
because
So
you
how
do
do I
this
do
all
it that
the
it
time.
tells me about my entire life? What's the chart? Is that what I need?
I think so.
Because I don't want the updates. I want the life.
I got rid of CoStar and just have a screenshot because
Okay.
CoStar on Android is real just shoddy. Like it's not good.
So here we go. Are you ready? So I'm gonna go down. It gives you an overview of all the things, and it tells you your houses. It tells you the signs. It tells you the planet thing. And I'm just gonna go through and say like my blank is in blank. Like for example, the first one is my sun is in Leo, and I'm gonna go down. Also, you know that conversation we had yesterday about someone that we know that has like their blank in Leo and their blank in Leo. You know how I was like, I think I have only one Leo. I actually have two. So never mind. I think I have a
So
lot more, but we'll find out.
is it in your big three? Because your big three are your sun, moon, and rising.
We'll get there, I guess. All right. So,
Oh no.
yeah. Okay. So, my sun is in Leo.
Okay.
So, the sun determines your ego, identity, and the role in life. So, it's the core of who you are, and it's the sign you're most likely to already know. Your sun is in Leo, meaning you are fundamentally bold and proud. You love attention and to be cared for. You pay it back in kind with your charm and your ability to make people feel better when they're blue. You know what your skills are and how to use them. It is in your ninth house, meaning you feel the need to distinguish yourself from others through philosophy, faith, education, and politics.
I feel like we're just gonna roast each other with horoscope.
I need you to roast me. You have one job right now. What is the roast you got?
No, keep going. What's your
Oh, okay.
rising?
Sure.
Or
Well,
your
I was gonna go. It goes down in order. So next is Moon. My Moon is in
okay.
Leo. So your Moon rules your emotions, your moods, and your feelings. This is likely the sign you most think of yourself as, since it reflects your personality when you're alone or deeply comfortable. Your Moon is in Leo, meaning your emotional self is dramatic, proud, expressive, idealistic, and somewhat self centered. You need a lot of care, love, and validation from other people. It's in your eighth house, meaning you find security and safety through darkness, taboos, rebirth, sex, and transformation. Do you have
Yep.
anything to comment? You're just going to go
Um
with yes.
so hold on. Before you continue, I only really kind of know about the big three. Like
Okay,
if you are like, oh, this is in Neptune, I'm gonna be like, yeah, great.
right.
I don't know anything about that. Um I laugh because there are times where you have done something really dramatic and I've been like, yeah, you're being a Leo right now, and you're like, excuse me.
This could be very true. I'm assuming
But
it is true.
I think it's funny that you have Leo in your sun and moon because you just are.
Yeah, I the thing that I don't not that I don't agree with, but part of it is like I tend to be which I'm sure has nothing to do with it. I don't know. I think this is gonna go off in a different. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna stop.
Okay.
I'm gonna be self critical, and I'm like that has nothing to do with it. So you shut up. You shut up. Okay. so so rising. I think they use the word ascendant.
Yeah.
So that right. So my ascendant is in Sagittarius. Your ascendant is the mask you present to people. It can be seen in your personal style and how you come off to people when you first meet. Some say it becomes less relevant as you get older. It changes every 2 hours, so if it doesn't make sense, text your mom and confirm your birth time. Your ascendant is in Sagittarius, meaning you come across as independent, optimistic, and confident, though sometimes overly blunt or critical. Generally a charming conversationalist, your free-spirited approach may come off as restless or easily bored.
Oh, that's just a reflection on what we talked about in the very first episode.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like it makes sense to me of um I the thing that's sticking out to me as not necessarily I align with is the piece about being blunt, overly blunt or critical. I think the way that they're saying it is I come off as overly blunt or critical to others, and I think I struggle with that most, and I'm overly blunt and critical to myself. And I think that's what I was trying to get at earlier, but it wasn't relevant to those two houses or to whatever's. Um,
Yeah.
so I think I tend, if anything, I don't like to beat around the bush, but I find myself constantly having to fight beating around the bush with others.
Because I think it goes into like, I think there's a part that's like, you don't want to beat around the bush, but you also want to be straightforward, but you're trying to like preserve other people's feelings.
And the relationship, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have anything to comment before we move on?
I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense about like it plays into like you getting easily bored. It plays. I joke around about the stereotype around like Leo being attention seeking and things like that, but I think there is some like not that you're attention seeking, but like that like tell me I'm doing a good job. Like I put a lot of effort into this. I'm really proud of it. Tell me I'm doing a good
Right,
job. Like those verbal affirmations.
right. I was going to say, I definitely feel like I know that I am naturally extroverted, but if I'm at a party, I don't need to be the center of attention, and I don't seek out to be the center of attention. And I kind of feel like that's more of the extremist version of what they're saying, and that's kind of what I'm like, I don't necessarily agree, but I do agree with a lot of it. Like it does, it makes sense whether or not that's because it's written professionally in a way that allows it to make sense, or if it's actually true. So
Well,
next,
because wait,
nope,
aren't you
go.
in your Gallup Strength Finder? Like, aren't you a woo? Like, isn't that in your
Yes,
top
that's
five
number
woo?
one.
I think
Yep.
woo is my number one too. No, I'm a strategic woo. That's mine.
You're using fancy words that don't make sense. Stop it.
So
So for
woo. So we're on the same page. Oh gosh. So woo is win others over, and yeah, Cody and I are both woos. It's fine. But it's basically like the people that I don't know how to describe it without sounding like we're a bunch of
well,
assholes.
I was gonna say it's very the way that it works is your entire basis is on communicating with new people. There's always new friends to make, and so you're just excited by the energy that comes with getting to know someone when it's the first time you meet them. And a lot of that comes down to some people find it very manipulative, but I think that has a lot to do with the side pieces of it all. Like one of my other strengths is positivity. Positivity is usually, again, usually not manipulative. So
Yeah.
I think
And I,
I think it kind of sway anyway. When you're cunning, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It depends on the person.
well, and I think like to woos like focus on that first relationship and that first interaction, but like then they keep like they have the ability to keep pulling you back in.
Right. Yeah.
Whether that's like with cunning, with wit, with positivity, like whatever kind of energy you're just kind of putting out there.
Right. All right. So Mercury, it's in Virgo. So Mercury determines how you communicate, you talk, you think, and you process information. It also indicates how you learn. It's the mind's planet. Your Mercury is in Virgo, meaning your intellect is analytical, precise, and diligent. Your unbiased sense of logic can make you seem a bit clinical. You have the tendency to be nitpicky and point out what's wrong rather than what's right. You're a planner and pay attention to details. It's in your ninth house, meaning you are curious about and inclined to analyze what you believe in and how you learn politics, philosophy, and your personal ethics. I disagree completely, if not maybe more like 80%. I am not, and I'm not super analytical, precise, or diligent in any sense of the way, I don't think. I think over time in the professional world, you have to kind of align with those things. Like there's no way you can be a professional in the work that I do and be unorganized completely. You have to have some sort of organizational skill. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Tell me.
I'm more of a planner than you are, but like I'm also my big three. I'm a Virgo, Gemini, Scorpio.
Mhm.
So I'm a little bit more of a planner than you are.
Yeah. So we'll just act like that one doesn't exist.
Can I? So I
Karen just
down.
go ahead.
No, go. Karen, what did what?
I was like, Karen's wrong. She was too disassociated when she thought I was born. I was probably born not at 3 o'clock. It's all her fault that this is wrong. I'm blaming my mother.
Oh my gosh.
Have babies
Um,
sooner, Karen. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't think you can control for that.
Mm. I
It's
mean,
like
we're also
remember when?
24 years late, so
Yeah. So there's that.
there is that.
I downloaded CoStar again, and the very first thing like how it has like this top. You can't see anything.
I could
Never
see it.
mind.
Yeah, that's all right.
But there's like this top part where it's like good afternoon. It's the very first thing it says. You can leave someone even if you still love them, and I was like, what's going on in my life today?
Well, that's some life advice. All right, so my Venus is in Cancer. Venus determines how and what you love. It indicates how you express affection and qualities you're attracted to. Your Venus is in Cancer, meaning your romantic side is gentle, thoughtful, and sentimental. You love being tender, kind, and nurturing to the people you love. You're intensely loyal, but this may stem from a fear of rejection. It's in your seventh house, meaning that for you, love is often expressed in close relationships and long term partners. I've never felt so added in my entire life.
I was just gonna say, I was like, that fear of rejection. We've talked about that.
Okay. Yeah,
It's like at me
I don't know
next
what to
time.
say. I know it's so strange because I feel like I know that like to me not that I don't believe in horoscopes, but like in I know that horoscopes are written in a way that you can almost anyone can fit into something. Like they'll find a way to make it work. I don't know, but like the way that that one's worded is kind of so true forever. Like specifically in talks that I've had with Erica is I tend to not develop romantic feelings until that connection is already made. Like I need to be friends with someone to even start to feel those type of feelings. Um, and I think that ties very closely into what they're saying there. Some people are like, I'm gonna go hook up with every person in the world. That's totally fine. I can't do that because that's just not a part of like the way that they phrase it in here is like sex and aggression or tend to whatever. But specifically in that column, like I that's not something that I can do. That doesn't make sense to me. Good thing I'm talking about sex on a podcast. Hopefully you're not here, Mom. Love you. Mars is in Cancer. What a good transition. Mars is the planet of aggression. Here we go. Good. It
Oh
determines how
gosh.
you assert yourself, take action, and the energy that surrounds you, particularly in your sex life, your ambitiousness, and when you're angry. Your Mars is in Cancer, meaning you assert yourself in a way that is emotional and somewhat passive aggressive, and you push things forward only when you feel safe and secure. It's in your eighth house, meaning you put a lot of energy into darkness, taboos, rebirth, sex, and transformation. Uh,
I don't I don't see the dark I don't see the dark energy, but I feel like that's more of my MO.
sure. It's in the hat. I see it. You
It's
know?
it's in the hat, the bright
What do you
like
mustard?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's definitely the hat.
So my Jupiter is in Capricorn. One of the two social planets, Jupiter rules idealism, optimism, and expansion. It's also what did I do wrong?
No, I'm following along now because I can
Okay.
do that. And I laughed at the optimism part because I was like, yeah, that social optimism there.
Okay. So it's also very philosophical. Your Jupiter is in Capricorn, meaning you grow and find understanding through responsibility, practicality, ambition, seriousness, efficiency, rationality, and power. So it's in your first house, meaning you find success through yourself and self image. And because it's your first house, your Jupiter in Capricorn is hyper present in your personality.
I think that's you can see that in like how you talk with people and like your relationships that you build because you and I we have this podcast because you and I can talk nonsense and then have really terrible transitions into other things.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say one thing that I'm thinking back to is like the easily bored piece. Like you and I, yes, we are easily bored, but I haven't felt that in the things that we do, which I find interesting. And I think it's
Well,
both because we need to be like upbeat to keep interest. Yeah, you
and I
tap the
think
microphone.
I know I had to move it over. Oh, am I louder now? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Well, it says you're louder, but that's all right.
uh,
That's
sweet Nick.
Nick's job.
Sweet Nick. It wouldn't be this podcast if we didn't talk about Nick at one point in time.
Hi, Nick.
Oh, sweet baby Nick. Now he
Just like
knows. Now
Sweet
he
Baby.
knows it's his nickname. Just like
So once we get sponsorship from Sweet Baby Ray's, Nick, you will have your own line called Sweet Baby Ray's. I can't wait till he's recording or he's going through the editing process, and he's just like, "Oh, that's me. This is awkward. My little awkward child. This is great." Anyway, what's up next? Am I just going again? Are we just gonna keep going? All right.
if you
My
want to keep
Saturn's in
going, you can. If you want to stop, okay.
well,
Go.
okay. So it's the other social planet. It rules responsibility, restrictions, limits, boundaries, fears, and self discipline. Since my Saturn is in Aries, I struggle with aggression, impatience, defensiveness, hastiness, and yeah, there it is. It's in your fourth house, meaning you've had difficulty with your home and family. I do tend to I tend to hop to defensiveness first. Um, I know that about myself. And impatience, yeah, I feel that. Um, I think that has to do a lot too with like I don't know if it's more I like to play devil's advocate for people. Also with like I hate when people kind of just put me in a box and then I'm like, well no, this is how you're wrong. I don't know. Whatever. What do you think?
Um, after hold on, let me read it again.
Okay.
I think the hastiness, like when you're hurt, it's easier for you to be quick to judge in the negative
Mm.
and then like when you're immediately hurt because I think you and I are the same in this way where like you're immediately hurt you're like I'm angry and I'm angry right now and I'm angry because this and this and then when you take a step back it's like oh I'm actually not that angry and I like wasn't that like I'm not that upset let's keep moving like or like let me talk let me talk through this in a way that I feel better and I'm not going to be like you suck and this is why it's going to be more like you did this and it made me really upset.
Okay. So Uranus, whatever. I'm like, I don't know what people wanted to be called anymore. Is in Aquarius. So Uranus stays in a sign for 7 years, meaning it rules a generation more than a person. It rules innovation, rebellion, and progression. Your Uranus is in Aquarius, meaning other generations are shocked by your generation's unconventionality, intellectuality, and detachedness. It's in your second house, meaning that for you, it manifests in rebelling against dated expectations about money and material possessions. Uh, you think so?
I would say like
Well, it is
not
a generation.
necessarily yeah, not necessarily like money and material possessions, but like rebellion against dated expectations.
Yeah. I would, I mean, to give some context, one of my favorite things about my English degree was a lot of it was in feminist and gendered reading of culture and literature and all those things. And that's one of my favorite things. I could talk about that forever. And I would say that that goes against a lot of generational expectations. Darn it. I'm like generalizing. Why am I saying that? It's fine. Okay. Whew. Let's keep going. So Neptune is for 14 years and it's more generational. Um, it rules dreams, imaginations, and the unconscious. Mine is in Capricorn, meaning my entire generation finds inspiration through hard work, responsibility, seriousness, and ambition. It's in my second house, meaning that for you, this manifests in your ideal, verging on unrealistic and impractical about money and material possessions. Um, yeah, I spend money, and I was really bad at saving until like last year. So sure.
Yeah, I spend money.
Yeah, the money gets the things. So Pluto is in Sagittarius, and Pluto stays in each sign for up to 30 years. I'm not even alive that long, meaning it rules a generation more than a person. It rules power, intensity, obsession, and control. Since my Pluto is in Sagittarius, my generation's psyche is comparatively positive, free spirited, curious, optimistic, forward looking, independent, and confident. And in my 12th house, you personally are transforming outdated expectations of privacy, secrets, and introspection. Uh, I will say that me as a person, I'm usually very open about things. I mean, I know some of the 10 people that listen to this, and I talked about sex and aggression. So that's weird. I don't know where to go on from there. So what's up with you? You tell me your side of things. Where are
Sex
you
and
at?
aggression.
To put me in a pretty ribbon, do you feel like that's kind of like this entire experience is like, yeah, that makes sense.
I Yeah, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you were like, I don't really dive into astrology. I've only recently learned more about astrology because I have a staff member who is super passionate about it, and like that's stuff that we talk about. I was like, let me kind of dive more into this because you're interested in this, so let me kind of figure this out. Um, so there are like definite stereotypes and like archetypals there, but I think horoscopes and astrology like kind of fall into the similar tropes of like personality tests of like you generally can kind of fit into this box
Right.
if you swing it hard enough.
Right. All
So,
right. Well, how about you start from the top? You probably don't need to read the background, just your piece, since I kind of did the background.
all right. So my sun is in Virgo. You can follow along if you want.
Oh, I
Um
am. Trust me, you.
Trust
Trust
me,
you,
you.
me. Yep.
We're doing great.
Yep.
Um my sun is in Virgo. So it means you are particularly smart, responsible, hardworking, and self-sacrificing. You're thorough, meticulous, and intentional in everything you do. I'm pretty intentional in a lot of things that I do, yeah. You can accomplish things that most people can't, but may also get bogged down by the details of your day to day. You have to. Yep, words are hard. You have a need to be wholesome. It's in your 10th house, meaning you feel the need to distinguish yourself from others through goals, success, and responsibility. I feel personally attacked there.
Okay.
I say that because I was always the person growing up that was like, I'm not going to get interested in that because other people are interested in it.
You at Marvel.
Yes, we literally talked about it. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, do you have any
I was
thoughts?
gonna
I'm
say
gonna.
I kind of feel with the not I think it said about a need to stand out, and I think that shows in like how you present yourself. Like you're like I'm gonna take these things and make it professional. Like I think you did like a Harley Quinn thing maybe, and you were like I'm gonna make this look professional. Like I think that's cool, and that's different, and you definitely
Yeah,
are standing out when you do it. There
here
it
I
is.
am.
There it is.
Oh my gosh, I bought quick side note, when I was in Roanoke, I bought this jacket like thing, like it's a
Uh-huh.
lighter jacket that's kind of lacy, and I could either look like a really cool evil queen or villain, or I could be Loki, like a lady version of Loki. So
Okay,
fun
so
facts there.
you're just a villain.
With this jacket.
Yeah, got it.
Anyway, so my moon is in Gemini, meaning your emotional self is often restless and unsettled. You're extremely adaptable, which sometimes makes you feel pulled into too many directions. You are easily bored. There it is. You're easily bored and need to feel like You are free to be creative and create meaning, which you can make. Whoa, which this is why we
Hmm.
have this podcast because I can't talk. Um, which can make you feel like you're in constant identity crisis. I joke around. I literally just said this to one of my RAs that I joke around about having a existential crisis at least once a week. I
I had to
hate you.
do it. I had to
Get
do it. I had to. It was there. I wanted to press it.
Go away. I don't hate you. I love you a lot.
Okay. I mean, I would vibe with what you're saying. I agree. We both get easily bored. Oh my gosh. There was
um,
no joke there and I'm still using it. Like it makes no
yeah.
sense. Just let it happen.
It's in your seventh house meaning you find security and safety through close relationships and long-term partnerships. I would agree with that because kind of like you, I'm not I'm not the person to like go sleep around. Like I value that connectiveness, that connectivity, that like feeling of safety within a person.
I'm
I
so
don't know
sorry.
how to.
I
Oh
really
my
wanted to press that so bad. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to press. I'm done pressing buttons. I'm sorry. No, I concur.
god.
I'm glad that we're on the same page of this. Um, yeah, it's a strange. I again, there's no judgment on the people that do those type of things. I just, in
No.
my brain and my psyche, it doesn't make sense, and it's it doesn't match my persona.
Yeah. Like I think everybody kind of has like a hookup phase. Um and those aren't satisfying. Like those phases aren't satisfying for me because it's like about that relational journey where
Yeah,
it's like you get to know somebody, you get to know them at their core, you get to see them at their core, you get to see them at their best and their worst. And like it's kind of the same expectation of like that I have of people for me where it's like you get to see me at my best and my worst and like we still keep moving throughout the day and like
right.
we still are able to kind of navigate through that.
Yeah.
But anyway, my ascendant is in Scorpio. It's the mask you present. So let's go find it. Your ascendant
Hmm.
is in Scorpio, meaning meaning you come across as passionate, inclusive, cunning, strategic, and perceptive. Your intense and tenacious drive comes off as intimidating and powerful, if not malicious or aggressive.
Hmm.
I have been told that I come across and I either people's first impressions of me is either that I look super organized and I'm super friendly, or that I am just like a standoffish bitch.
Hmm. Okay.
And I was like, okay.
I
So
was gonna
move.
say I think more intimidated is kind of how I felt at first, if anything. But that was also a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I also am like I feel like I could be wrong, but in my entire perception of you, I feel like they are painting you as a lot more calculated than I think you are.
I make it up
Okay.
as I go every day.
Okay. I was gonna say like intentionality is a thing, but calculated is another word. And I feel like they're leaning more towards the calculated, please. But okay, keep going. Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, my Mercury, I have 3 in Leo, by the way. um, I also need to stop drinking water because I got to spit in a tube for my COVID test later. Um, yeah. So my Mercury's in
yeah.
Leo, meaning your intellect is meaning your intellect is persuasive, idealistic, and bold. A natural leader, you speak articulately. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why we
okay.
that's why we have this podcast. I do not speak
Yeah.
articulately. And with confidence. I unarticulately speak with confidence.
Okay.
Um, you use creativity and warmth to win others' attention. You may come off as overbearing or conceited. It's in your ninth house, meaning you are curious about and inclined to analyze what you believe in, what and how to learn politics, philosophy, and your personal ethics.
Yeah, yeah. I would say in terms of the articulation, in written form, you are very articulate. But again, that also allows for space of making mistakes, finding them, fixing them. there's usually not a time limit when you're speaking. There is a time limit, so I get that.
Yep.
Yep.
So there's that. My Venus is in Leo. So your Venus is in Leo, meaning your romantic side is idealistic AF. Okay. You need a lot of love, care, and validation. In return, oh wow. Oh. In return, you don't hold anything back. That's yep. You are a passionate. You want a passionate relationship, though sometimes it just seems like you like drama. Okay. It's in your ninth house, meaning that for you, love is often expressed in philosophy, faith, education, and politics.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I uh, I'm like, are there words gonna come out of my mouth? Uh, I mean, I can't speak for how you romantically do things, but what I will say is from our conversations on with your past relationships, you have even used the word needy. So, I mean, maybe like you're gonna have
I
to
just
sit with that one, I guess.
I just want to be loved.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I don't know that I like drama. I think there's a difference between liking drama and living in drama,
yes.
and I don't. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to because
You
I
take a
don't want
deep
to live
dive.
in. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to live in drama, but I
The
like in
Jersey Shore makes
conversation.
me smile.
The Jersey Shore does make me smile. I I have a weird love of the Jersey Shore. It's fine.
Trash
All right.
TV makes me feel so much better.
So we're just gonna keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
We'll look at that introspectively later. So my Mars is in Libra, meaning that while it may take you a while to make decisions, you assert yourself in a way that is fair-minded, realistic. Nope. Hold on, I can't read. Let me try that again. Your Mars is in Libra, meaning that it may take you a while to make decisions as you assert yourself in a way that is fair-minded and relativistic. There we go. Though sometimes passive aggressive. It's in your 11th house, meaning you put a lot of energy into social situations, including platonic and casual friends, along with your hopes, wishes, and dreams. Okay,
Yeah.
keep keep going. This is my last. This is my
Okay.
last Leo. My Jupiter is in Leo.
Mhm.
Um, Meaning you grow and find understanding through magnanimity, inspiring confidence, thinking big, and feeling good about yourself. It's in your ninth house, meaning you find success through creation of meaning, philosophy, faith, education, politics, and travel. 100% travel and
Yep.
education.
Yep. I was
Like
gonna
a
say, I
100%.
think that shows up a lot in while I was to give context to past knowledge of our relationship. Um, I never technically felt under your leadership, technically, but I will say, in terms of how I've seen your leadership, it makes sense that it's very what's the word they used in there? Like meaningful, what was it? It was the first part of your house.
My find understanding through magnanimity, inspiring confidence, thinking big, and feeling good about
I was going
yourself.
to say that that has a lot to do with your leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Because, like, it took a long time for me to kind of like figure out when I lived in Texas is when I figured out that like being yourself was the best thing to do and that you can't change for others. And that like changed up a lot of stuff for me. And I like honestly, my friends in Texas, Jade, Brittany, and Dom really kind of allowed me to have that space to just kind of be the wacky, quirky person that I am now. And like understanding that I could show up in those spaces like that and still be loved and be appreciated. Which is now why I am the way that I am. Because I was
Thanks,
given a
Texas.
place to thanks, Texas. I was given a place to grow. But I definitely do think that I find success through, or meaning you find success through creation of meaning. Philosophy is 100% one, education and travel. I don't know about faith and I don't really know about politics. but definitely philosophy, education, travel, because like education's super important to me, and I get wanderlust, and I could talk philosophy all day. So
Maybe next time.
yes, Saturn in Aquarius, meaning you struggle with obstinacy, a superiority complex. Oh my god, and being overly detached. It's in your third house, meaning you've had meaning you have had difficulties with the things you know and are familiar with. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't
Next.
know. We're gonna keep going. Um, your Uranus is in Capricorn, meaning other generations are shocked by your generation's sense of responsibility, seriousness, rationality, and hunger for power. Why am I power hungry? Oh, um,
Millennial problem.
it might be a millennial problem. It's in your second house, meaning that for you, it manifests in rebelling against stated expectations about money and material and possessions. Wait, is yours in Capricorn too?
Yeah, it's all well. It might not be in Capricorn, but it's definitely all about money and materials.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I guess in the way that I have money because I don't have a wife and children at the age of 24 is how I'm doing things differently. I guess.
Yeah, like I don't have children and I'm not married by the age 30, so
Which one? Neptune is in Capricorn for me. Pluto is in
so
Sagittarius.
what about Uranus?
Uh,
Because my Neptune's in Capricorn too, so we
Uranus is
probably
in
have the same.
Aquarius.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Look at me. Wow.
I'm not gonna read my Neptune is in Capricorn because yours was.
Yep. We're
And
the
then
same.
we're the same. And then my Pluto is in Scorpio, meaning your generation's psyche is comparatively passionate, intense, serious, private, self obsessed, and perceptive. It's in your 12th house, meaning you personally are transforming outdated expectations of privacy, secrets, and introspection.
That's what mine said too, basically.
Kind of, yeah. So
Mm,
we're a very selfish generation.
we are oddly similar,
hmm
which I find interesting.
So, so there's that.
Well, I think that's good. I find it cool to have these like leadership inventories and like these personality inventories. Whether or not they're all true is up for debate. But I definitely feel like in terms of this app, again, this is CoStar not sponsoring us. Give us money. Um, I definitely feel like this is the most in depth that I've ever experienced a horoscope. Usually because they're written very small and for a larger group of people instead of specific to you.
Yeah. I would say that like True Colors personality test is four different colors that you get to be put into, but they all kind of apply to everybody, so they're super general. Where like the Enneagram would be like co-star.
Hmm.
Where the Enneagram is a little bit like the Enneagram definitely I feel like I get called out by the Enneagram all the time.
You just got really passionate, and I could tell because you're moving.
I love the Enneagram so much. I'm trying to get in with the Enneagram Institution to be an instructor for the test.
Yeah, I definitely like it in the way that for those who are not familiar, it's nine pieces, and then those nine pieces divert into wings, which divert into other things, and then there's more, and they just keep adding more. So,
There's like a line of success and a line of stress.
yeah,
It's
and then
really
it just
cool.
keeps going. It just keeps going forever.
hmm
So, definitely look at that too. All right. Well, do you have any closing thoughts for our friends at home
I
or in the
just
car?
I just accidentally shoved my pen up my nose. Did you see that? Cody did shove his pen up his nose.
I did very slow.
I need to spin a tube. I need to not drink water for 30 minutes.
Gosh,
Um
is there a quote I can leave you with? Um, Uh,
is there a quote you can leave me with? What are you doing?
you know what? Here's the thing that we'll leave everybody with. Today
Okay.
through Friday, are you ready to be kind to yourself? Are you? Are you ready to be kind to yourself, Erica?
You think about that.
Yeah, I should really think about that as I go back to work. I need to be
Yeah.
kind to myself. That's deep. I'm gonna sit now. I was like, this is a joke. But now I'm just like, ooh, oh no. I
Ooh.
guess I'm gonna have to go. Yeah,
Ooh, piece
I
of
feel a little
candy.
called out now. Yeah. Wow. All right.
That's our gift to you. Happy Thursday.
I can't. Okay. Okay. Goodbye.
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 Yep.